I think it's something that is going to continue to grow, like getting more Instagram accounts related to public health. So since you all have had a year of this, what advice would you give to someone that wants to start an Instagram account focused around public health?
The biggest one is just be real. I mean, you mentioned how we have all of these MD and yeah, it's primarily MD influencer accounts. And I mean, it really does romanticize the idea of going through med school when I know for a fact, because I have lots of friends that have gone through it, it's not cute. There's lots of tears. There's lots of eyebrow plucking out of stress. There's lots of stress eating. It's not this beautiful thing of I just stayed up for 14 hours studying and I might, have a stress hemorrhoid. Like, everybody's beautiful and like they look so poised, and I'm like, but that's not what med school is. Nobody ever looks back on their med school years and says, wow, yeah, I had a really luxurious time there. No, you're in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. You probably have either gained 20 pounds or lost 20 pounds, maybe both within the same week because you're stressed. We just, yeah, if you're going to make an Instagram account, for the love of God, please don't romanticize it. Like, be real. I mean, I would never want somebody to get into public health with this false notion in their minds of, oh, it's going to be this glamorous thing, because it's not. I mean, it's wonderful, it's rewarding, but we're not movie stars, and we're by no means like the most glamorous people on earth. So just keep it real, be honest about it.
I would say the same thing. I would say there's no harm in being imperfect and showing the boring sides of what you do. I think something that we used to do when we were in the lab together, obviously it's much different now. I'm at home, I do nothing, and Mee is super busy, but like a day in the life. Sorry, we used to do days in the life like all the time, and I think that like, even though it can seem really boring, I think it's really worth like showing people like, hey, look, I sat at a computer all day and I did some data entry and I cleaned some data, because that's what epidemiology is for me. And so I would say the same thing for someone who wants to start an Instagram account for public health. Don't be afraid to show like what it really is, because that's what's most valuable to people. That's what people will be the most grateful to see, is what you're actually doing, and not just like the cute picture that you took with some donuts, even though we love taking those pictures.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing I guess I would add is just being transparent and vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. I am really lucky that I have a lot of really strong female coworkers that have helped me kind of grow into my own as a professional. But there are a lot of things that I still need to work on. And one of the best pieces of advice or best resources that one of my coworkers actually just shared with me is a book that's specifically tailored to women in very competitive workplaces. And it talks about how a lot of the times we jeopardize ourselves without realizing it. Instead of saying, I did this today, we'll say, oh, I only did this today, like we'll downplay our accomplishments. And so, I mean, that's something that I'm definitely working on. And that's something that I definitely plan on posting on in our Instagram, is just to show people like it's always going to be a growth mindset for me. I'm always going to work towards bettering myself, whether that means that I'm working towards a certain certification, or if I'm working towards increasing my organizational skills, or if it's something like just bettering the way that I view myself and the way that I present myself, because that's something that I struggle with a lot, is doing that and making sure that I don't say something disparaging to myself without realizing it, and so just be vulnerable and be transparent, because I don't think there's a lot of that on social media whatsoever, or even in real life. A lot of people tend to hide that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And thank you for sharing that. If I had to add one thing, like For me, I started my account after I graduated my MPH program. If I had the chance to start it while I was in my MPH, I would have done that, just to show the journey and like capture like all the failures, because a lot of people that come to my profile and follow me now probably think, oh, he's successful, he's done all these things, but they haven't seen that I like got rejected from 5 jobs, never got called back from another 8, and all those different kinds of things. So I really appreciate you all talking about like really showing the real side of what is happening.